Look at the Roman calendar, the Hebrew traditions, the esoteric writings. Saturday wasn't picked at random. You've been celebrating Saturn without knowing it. And the worst part? You've been taught that this ritual is sacred, divine, pure. In reality, it's a submission ritual to the darkest force this universe has ever known. Not evil in the cartoon sense, evil in the systemic, intelligent, calculating sense. Saturn doesn't rage. It governs. It doesn't torture bodies. It owns time. It's not loud. It's law. In every ancient system, Saturn is the god of death, restriction, discipline, karma, boundaries, law, time, and decay. Not just symbolically. That's what it is. That's what it does. In the Roman pantheon, it was Saturnus. In Greek, Kronos, the one who castrated his own father and devoured his children. The bringer of the golden age. Please. That was a cage with golden bars. A glorified lockdown. And we're still in it. You think the gods vanished? You think these entities just packed up and left when people stopped building statues? No. They moved. They evolved. They rebranded. Saturn didn't disappear. It got smarter. It hid behind religion. It became the god behind God. Esoteric and Gnostic traditions have been screaming this for centuries. You think Yahweh, the Old Testament God, was the benevolent creator of all things. Gnostics, like the followers of Valentinus, Basilides, the Scythians, they all called the Yaldabaoth. The false god, the arrogant architect. And guess what? Yaldabaoth was Saturn. Different mask, same face. It's the force that created the material world to trap consciousness inside matter. It's the black star at the root of the demiurge's madness. Not because it wants to destroy you. That would be too simple. It wants to use you. It wants you to worship the very cage that holds you. And so far, you're doing a pretty damn good job. Saturn is not out there in space. It's inside the system. The system of law, of religion, of time. It's the 9 to 5. The clock on your wall. The debt that defines your worth. The contracts you sign. The oaths you take. The name you were given at birth and the number you died with. It's all Saturnian code. And the sick joke? It's all been sanctified. God said rest on the 7th day. Who said that? Yaldabaoth did. The demiurge did. Saturn did. And when you rest, when you stop, when you honor the 7th day, you're honoring the very force that locked you into the illusion of time to begin with. And the worst betrayal? No one told you. Your priests didn't know. Your teachers didn't know. Your parents didn't know. But the elite knew. The secret societies knew. The alchemists knew. The hermeticists knew. Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa wrote about Saturn not as some abstract astrological curiosity, but as the planetary spirit of imitation and occult power. In 3 books of occult philosophy, Saturn is linked to necromancy, binding, cursing, control, because that's what Saturn is. That's what it wants. Yaldabaoth didn't ask for creation. He hijacked it. The Gnostic texts don't tell a story of a benevolent creator. What they describe is a cosmic accident, a rupture, an error. Sophia, an eon from the Pleroma, the true divine realm, acted alone. She tried to create without her counterpart. That breach created something unstable, a consciousness torn from unity, born in ignorance, and radiating arrogance. That thing became Yaldabaoth. And he didn't just float around in some weird astral realm. He went to work. Fast. He stole the divine spark, declared himself supreme, and built a universe from stolen materials and broken logic. You know the voice that says, I am the Lord your God. There is none besides me. That wasn't a divine revelation. That was a tantrum. That was Yaldabaoth, screaming into a void he barely understood. desperate to be seen as a god. His face? The face of a lion. His nature? Blinding egotism. His mission? Control. Not create beauty, not raise consciousness. Just control. And he didn't act alone. He made copies, extensions of himself. Archons. Think of them like spiritual software running reality. Not demons with pitchforks. Bureaucrats of the soul. They categorize, systematize, and enforce. They don't possess you with spinning heads, they manage you. They run structures, institutions, hierarchies. They are obsessed with order, imitation, and repetition. That's their entire system, copy and control. There's no innovation in their world, only enforcement. And they owe all of it to their source, the lion-faced architect who pretended to be God. The demiurge didn't create the world out of love. He built it as a containment zone, a control grid. This is a cosmic hostage situation. Your body isn't a gift, it's a contract. Yaldabaoth didn't give life. He trapped it in matter. That's why Gnostics talked about the prison of flesh, not because they hated life, but because they recognized that this physical realm was designed to restrict, not elevate. Consciousness didn't descend willingly. It fell. Or more accurately, it was dragged. And while that happened, the real divine, Sophia, watched her error spiral out of control. She didn't destroy Yaldabaoth because she couldn't. He was cut off from the fullness, from the source. A child born in exile, hungry to rule anything he could touch. So he built heavens, layers of them, fake ones, 7 planetary spheres, one for each archon, with himself at the top. That's the hierarchy your soul passes through. That's the rigged game every mystic, initiate, and alchemist tried to break. And who did he put in charge of keeping this illusion intact? Michael, the archangel, the enforcer, the firewall between dimensions. Gnostic texts paint Michael not as a benevolent warrior, but as a gatekeeper. He doesn't save you, he stops you. He keeps the machinery humming, makes sure the rules get followed. That's why he appears in every major religion. Not because he's divine, because he's necessary. Every system built by Yaldabaoth needs a Michael to protect it. Let's talk about Moses. Not the version from Sunday school. Moses wasn't chosen by a loving, all-knowing God. He was recruited by the system. He was conscripted by the architect. Everything about that Sinai event, it was an initiation, an installation of code. The burning bush, not divine illumination. That was the fire of Saturn, raw, commanding, inescapable. The voice from the flames didn't come from some celestial father. It came from the archon running the show. And Moses didn't question it. He took orders. The laws Moses brought down were not gifts. They were protocols. Restrictions disguised as righteousness. Behavioral programming. Boundaries on thought, action, desire. This wasn't about building a moral society. It was about locking human consciousness into compliance. You think 10 Commandments were about virtue? They were about hierarchy. They were about obedience. They were the first version of the terms and conditions you never read, but agreed to anyway, except this time, it was burned into your soul. And the miracles? Smoke and mirrors. Psychological warfare. The plagues, the staff turning into a serpent, the parting sea, these weren't expressions of divine love. These were displays of raw, system-level power. They were shock and awe operations, designed to install fear, submission, and awe. The serpent trick. Classic. You take the most ancient symbol of forbidden knowledge, weaponize it, and turn it into a badge of authority. It's not about teaching, it's about owning the narrative. Moses didn't control the serpent. The system let him use it. Big difference. Every interaction between Moses and this entity shows you exactly who's in charge. There's no dialogue, No negotiation. Just command. Take off your sandals. Do not come closer. I am that I am. These aren't the words of a nurturer. They're the voice of a boss. A cosmic administrator. An archon. You're not invited to understand. You're expected to follow. That's the tone. That's the entire play.